Over here! Let us commence! Didn't feel a thing. You got lucky. Ow, ow, ow! Splendid, magnificent. Giddy up now to hell! And then this! Dominated!
The Colbert is a tier 10 French light cruiser, one of the most requested ship everyone has been asking for, still gets beaten to the punch by a fucking tier 1. This ship requires zero introduction. Highest DPM in the game, both for HE and AP. At least that's what's said in the brochure. In practice these are closer in effectiveness as gamer complaints regarding carriers and submarines. Too much box, not much action. Because of its destroyer guns. These are not Russian fantasy guns. These were actual guns that uses American shells, so they get terrible handling. It shatters on everything and have terrible ballistic. You get 16 of them. But so were that fake communist flamethrower, and we don't even see much of that ship anymore because it gets out gimmicked by the game, and people already gotten tired of playing such ship. If you ask me personally, picking the Colbert is like having a bread shoved into your throat, but I guess it is impossible to resist gawking at this much DPM. This is how to play the ultimate spammer. First of all, zoom out 2 notch on your binocular, then quickly hug an island. You hug it like you were taking someone else's waifu. You can use any island, as long as it blocks vision. Then you wait for the enemy team to advance, let them get within 12 kilometers of you, and then start firing at the biggest turd. To be perfectly clear, this is not a selfish play. A selfish play is only when you snipe people, which is something the Colbert cannot do anyway, as you're limited to 13 kilometer range. But why 13? When you could get 16? Why stuck with tier 7 range in tier 10 match? This is because shooting anything beyond 13 kilometers are impractical. You will both miss and look stupid doing it. The other reason why 13 kilometer range is enough is to completely trap anyone who overextends. You will have easier time landing hits, which will complement your above average HE alpha, and guaranteed to set fires, something it can do perfectly fine as well. Fun fact, the shells are actually faster than that half-assed Chinese copy. The more time you spend shooting, the more influence you doubt, but sometimes you won't get the best island, either for being too tall, or when the enemy is also using it as cover. To work out that problem, you do what I call curveballing, where you use precise throttle control, and follow the enemy movement, to always have a gap for shells to clear the island, while still hiding the hull. This move requires some prerequisites before you commit, and you can only do this to one ship at a time. Practice this enough time and you can turn any island into an impenetrable fortress, and the enemy have zero counterplay against it. You can even push this into the extreme by absolutely grasping the island for dear life, poking either end of the ship, and shooting only half of your guns. You lose half the DPM, but it doesn't matter, it still have more DPM than literally 2/3 of all cruisers in the game. And with its range stopping fire per minute, you can snipe sections of the ship and set it on fire. This amount of cheesing is downright illegal for a ship that can't exactly pen anything.
I appear to have burst into flames.
Do this, loser!
Oh!
At this point, you probably understand why people both hate and love the Colbert, because it deals damage in the most inhuman way possible, and cannot be touched back. So now we come to the part where we deal with the not ideal, known as 90% of the game you encounter in random battle. There are lots of things preventing you to take advantage of islands, such as extreme passive plays, spawning in the wrong part of the map, or when matchmaking gave you ocean. If camping is not an option, it is a good time to look like an idiot by shooting in open water and piss on everyone until the ocean smells like the streets of Paris. The best thing about the Colbert, and possibly one of its inherent gimmick, is living rent-free in everyone's head. Throwing these much shells in the air is a morale boost for your team, but it turns the enemy into a cancel horde. You assume every one of them already have their guns loaded for you, wanting to be intimate with your 16mm overalls. So take incoming fire alert and react upon every shot, using its best-in-class speed and turning circle. This lack of armor is always good for accidental broadside as well. With accurate guesstimating of enemy range and shell caliber, you can get away from a potential deletion. But do pay attention that not all shells are created equal, and definitely avoid the Americans. They never liked the French, though it somehow fared the best when it's up against anything German. This is a very sus anecdote, but if this isn't French bias, I don't know what else.
You're green with envy, I can tell.
If you think that was pure luck, do not worry, as this is the only ship available in the game, able to combine faith and stupidity to create a new way to play, and then doubling down on the effort. Essentially, any of your genius plan have a higher chance of working out, thanks to its high mobility, responsiveness, and very clear weaknesses. You can spam ship without getting spotted, not only by clever use of island, but by also not having the range to be spotted by anyone else. Knowing the rules of the game and taking advantage of it allows you to pull moves that other ship cannot do, with luck filling the rest. The existence of the Colbert itself have a higher chance to influence your teammates positively. Most players already have a general understanding of the ship and would recognize the type of idiot brave enough to push it to the limit. They know that Colbert players will always attempt to do the right thing because it cannot do anything otherwise. One of the perks of being French. Good luck doing that if you play anything Japanese. By not having its apparent strength being relevant in current state of the game, you have better controls over the ship, all while still being underestimated by most people. It doesn't matter how powerful enemy ships are, when you are driving a relatively obscure ship, with the majority still thinking that it's just a shitty small end, completely forgetting the part where they also have to fight an island when dealing with a properly played Colbert. It gets better if they approaches you one by one, trying to be a hero fighting against a ship designed around unethical playstyle. Hey, this qualities seems suspiciously close to a certain class. And before you know it, you are playing the ship in autopilot, achieved 200,000 damage, and still doesn't remember what the fuck you did. If you reach this point, then you have mastered the Colbert. But please remember all the torpedoes you dodge along the way.
The moves! I have all of them!
This is how you set up the piss boy. You take incoming fire alert, demolition expert, superintendent, and concealment. Then take last stand, heavy HE, survivability expert, and your choice between radio location or consumables enhancement and focus fire. For the upgrades you take main armament 1, engine boost mod 1, aiming system. Your choice between propulsion mod or steering gears, whichever works best for you. Then take concealment and main battery 3. Now that you know how to play the Colbert, it is once again time for some reality check. Even with perfect play, you are still subject to gimmick war, RNG, and inability to fight certain ships. The Colbert is one of the worst ship for a flawless play. You better off playing anything American if you want consistency, and let's not mention having to face tier 11 stupidity. That would not throw their punches to the smallest mistake, because it's French, and you're playing a ship with the highest BPM in the game despite having to work your ass on turning those numbers into actual damage. The philosophy of the Colbert is to expect nothing. You press battle, use the knowledge you just acquired, and throw your biggest middle finger against an already unbalanced game. This is why the Colbert is one of the best ship in World of Warships. It is an anti-unicum ship. You won't get consistent result, but you're having the true fun when playing it. Only after you have experienced how it plays, you will gain enlightenment on why gimmick is the bread and butter of this game, and why achieving balance is a pointless endeavor. You can cry all you want about ships that upsets you in game, and while it sometimes works, the rest are balanced out by people who are too stupid to play them properly. And even if you got outplayed by any of them, you will simply do not care, because you're on the Colbert. You have agreed to not give two fucks about anything when playing this ship. Now go out there and achieve peace through overwhelming firepower, and don't forget to pay extra attention to anything from the Eastern Bloc.
I thought Paris would be a bit more picturesque. Instead, it's just traffic and some big guy using a jackhammer.
But monsieur, this is not a jackhammer. It is a jackhammer.
Oh.